Hi friends, week 42, and this is Lisa here reporting on my week. And for those of you new to my channel, I follow Bashar's formula and apply his teachings to my life. And then every week I make a video on my challenges that I faced for the week and my wins and just in general how things are going and is it helping me or not in my life. So just some like real practical application of the formula, because I think sometimes it's easy to learn about spiritual knowledge or spiritual teachings and consume all of this content, but not actually apply it to your life. So that's one of the things that I started doing. And then making these videos is really helping me to keep everything fresh in my mind and to really go deeper into Bashar's teachings, because I do believe that his formula and how reality works, if we can understand that at a deep level and apply that to our lives, then I think that we can overcome our challenges a lot easier without suffering as much. The idea is to have challenges because that's what physical reality is all about, but not to suffer from those challenges, or to suffer as least as possible, I guess. You could say. So anyway, that's in a nutshell, that's what I'm doing. And so this week 42, I've been following Bashar's formula for 42 weeks now. The wins for this week. So I have been feeling a little bit sad at times, or a lot sad at times, about my breakup, and I'm just trying to stay in a positive state about that situation as much as possible, and just to send love, unconditional love, to all involved, especially to myself, because I find that I'm probably harder on myself than anyone else, and I have these high expectations, like, oh, I know all of this spiritual knowledge and I have all these tools in my toolbox and everything, but when it comes to applying them in that particular situation, it's very difficult for me, and I don't feel like I have mastered it in any way possible, any possible way. But I am still trying and still attempting to stay in a positive state as much as possible. So this week I started feeling a little bit more excited about my life again. I used Bashar's teachings. He talks about how one of the techniques he gives is writing your life story the way that you want it to be, using archetypal story structure in the process. Basically, you're the hero in your own story, and there'll be challenges, and there'll be other particular archetypes that show up, like the villain and so on and so forth, and you will overcome that. So if you can kind of see your life as a story structure, then whenever things pop up, you're like, oh yeah, this is the villain, and I'm going to overcome this in some way, and you can kind of get excited about it. So that's the whole idea behind it. I used AI to help me write a great story of my life the way that I wanted it to be, and it turned out good. I still need to tweak it a little bit, and maybe at some point I'll share it with you guys, and maybe in the future so you can see, like, oh, this is what she wrote and this is what actually happened. I'm not really ready to share it right now, but it's good. I'm excited about it. It is a little bit far into the future, so it's about a year from now, is how I told the story, because I believe with some of the things that I'm going through, have in my mind that it's going to be a process that's going to take a little bit of time. Although I do know, or I do feel, that I am shifting through parallel realities billions of times per second, but I also know that I'm a human being having a physical experience. And so one of the reasons that we wanted to come here is so that we could have the experience of change. So if I just went from my challenge instantly to the solution, I wouldn't have that period of transformation, which is the whole point. So I'm pretty sure that I need to go through this process. And anyway, a year out, I think, is a good time for me to have a lot of transformation in the things that I'm working on, namely my physical body, like my nutrition, weight loss, just be exercising, drinking less or not at all, drink whatever, however that ends up in my life, but definitely not overindulging in alcohol and not using kratom to change my state. So just being responsible for my own state and being able to change my state without using the teachers, as Bashar calls them. So like alcohol and kratom too, because those are, kind of natural type substances, can teach you how, what it feels like to be in different states. Like alcohol relaxes you, kratom kind of energizes you. And so the idea is that you don't, once you know what it feels like to be in those states, you don't need the alcohol or the kratom. You have the ability to do it on your own. So that's what I'm working towards, and did really good with that this week. I also got on a GLP-1, and that has helped a lot. I'm not having cravings like I did before. Like I would have just this feeling in my body that I needed to have a drink, and sometimes it would be during the middle of the day while I was teaching or something. Like I'm obviously not going to drink at work. But I would just, anytime I had this, like, I guess it's anxiety or something, some type of feeling in my body that would make me kind of crave that. But the GLPs has helped that a lot, and then also help with food cravings. I'm typically a three meal a day type person anyway, but sometimes I would, like at night, like, oh, I really want some chocolate, or if there's anything that like that around the house, then I'll tend to eat that, which is not good for me to do excessively. Still want to have treats, but not that much. I feel like I'm rambling. Hopefully I'm not. But yeah, the GLP-1s are helping with all of that, and I think that's great. I'm not having any side effects on it or anything. I'm eating my protein. I'm walking my 10,000 steps a day. So I'm on like day 15 or something of 10,000 steps a day. And that is a lot of walking. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours of walking a day. And it does take a lot, quite a bit of time up to do that, but I'm making it a priority, and getting out. I love it because I can walk around my neighborhood and take my dogs who love to be outside. Also my daughter, my oldest daughter, and my grandkids. So we all just walk together. And yeah, it's a very positive experience. And then it's also good for all of us physically to be outside, to be outdoors, and to get some movement in. So yay me, I've been doing great with that. And also great with my protein, prioritizing protein and getting those in, and just in general making a lot of good choices for myself. So I'm excited about that. Sorry, looking at my notes, if you're wondering why I'm looking down, looking at my laptop. So anyway, going back to the thing that I was saying about writing the story about how you want your life to be, once you do that, it may actually not turn out the way that you have written it, and that's okay. So the general idea of doing the story is to get you in a state of excitement, and then once you have that excitement, you have to release that, idea about how it is going to play out, because your physical mind does not really know how things need to happen in order for you to have what you need in order to be fulfilled. So I can have the end, in the end, how I want to feel, if I am able to transform my body and my health, and then also have a great relationship, with someone who wants the same things in a relationship that I do, someone who's really compatible with me in that way, then, what I'm picturing in my mind to get me really excited about that outcome may not actually happen, but the feeling that I'll have in the end can happen, or is pretty much guaranteed to happen if I can stay in that excitement. I just have to release the insistence on it happening the way that my physical mind thinks that it should happen, and be open to it happening a different way, which I feel like I am open to that. I'm not insisting on things happening, because I can look back in my life and see how things that I thought should happen a certain way, and when they didn't turn out, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad that that didn't happen. For example, whenever I first moved to Tennessee, I had an idea that I wanted to live in a tiny house on my daughter's property with my youngest daughter, who was 15 at the time. And now I can see that that would have been a complete disaster, but plans for that tiny house just kept falling through, and one thing after another, and it just wasn't working out. And then after a couple of months, the house two doors down from my oldest daughter went on the market, and it was perfect. It was small, but it wasn't tiny. She had her own room. So, and I look back now and I'm so thankful that that tiny house plan fell through, because it would not have made us happy. That's just a simple example. I'm sure that you guys have many, many examples of your own things in life where your physical mind thinks that it knows what it is that would make you happy, but your higher mind, or you can even think of God, or, you know, all that is, as being responsible for that. But there is some a source that is more than you, that is controlling the outcome, in a sense. That's what I believe anyway. So anyway, going back, really seemed to get off track there. Looking at my notes here, this week was good in that, like health wise, I made a lot of good progress. The biggest challenge is just feeling sad at times about, you know, my breakup, but I'm just trusting that everything is going to work out with that in, you know, the highest way possible to all involved. We may or may not end up together. I don't really know at this point. But either way, you know, I'm just surrendering to it, because I don't really know what the best thing is for all involved. I was off this week for spring break, which was really nice. However, I found myself not really doing things that I had planned to do. Like, I thought that I wanted to do a lot of spring cleaning and work in the yard and all of that. I did none of that. And I kind of had to release that. Well, today's Sunday and I go back to work tomorrow. So I kind of had to release that idea that I needed to get all of these things done, because obviously I didn't need to get them done because they didn't get done. And that's okay. I did spend a lot of time with my grandchildren this week, which is amazing. I'm really so grateful. And whenever I have those sad moments, I like to just get out my journal and just make a gratitude list of all the things that I have appreciation for in my life and I'm so grateful for. And definitely my grandchildren are at the top of the list, because they are just so beautiful and precious. And yeah, it's amazing. Being a grandparent is really amazing. So got to spend a lot of time with them, and got to go on a lot of walks. I mentioned that already. Yeah. So all in all, it was a good week. And I love the idea of, you know, writing my story the way that I want it to be. And I look forward to making that video, and also just falling into character as far as the person that I need to be in that story to generate more excitement about my life and the things that I anticipate manifesting over the next year. So anyway, good to check in with you guys. I hope that you all had a great week. If you found anything helpful or interesting, or if you resonated with anything that I said in the video, I hope that you like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, share your experiences. I would love to have like a little community, or, you know, some comments to show that these videos are not in vain, and that at least one person is getting at least something out of them, because that's what Bashar says. If there's just one person, then what you're sharing is helpful. Well, actually what he says is that if you have something to share, then there is one person that could benefit from it. So if you're out there, I look forward to hearing from you. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close, and I hope that you guys have a great week, and take care. Aveo.